United's double transfer blow. Watkins says no, but Lamens says yes. What this means for Amorim's plans. Welcome to United News, your most trusted source for all things Manchester United. While other channels chase clicks with made-up stories, we bring you the real facts that matter to United fans. When transfer news breaks, we cut through the noise to give you exactly what you need to know. That's why thousands of United supporters turn to us every day for their transfer updates. Picture this. You're Ruben Amorim, planning your squad for the new season. You know exactly what you need. A proven striker and reliable backup goalkeeper. You make your moves, but one door slams shut while another opens wide. Welcome to the unpredictable world of football transfers. The Watkins rejection. A harsh reality check. Let's start with the big news that has United fans talking. Fabrizio Romano confirmed that Manchester United made direct contact with Aston Villa about signing Ollie Watkins. The response was swift and brutal. Villa consider him not for sale. Why did United target Watkins in the first place? The answer is simple. The England striker has everything Amorim wants in a number 9. He's experienced, he's proven in the Premier League, and he knows how to find the back of the net when it matters most. But here's the thing about modern football. Just because you want a player doesn't mean you can get him. Villa aren't some small club desperate for money. They're competing in Europe, they have ambitions of their own, and Watkins is absolutely central to everything they do. The 29-year-old striker recently became Villa's all-time top Premier League scorer, overtaking Gabriel Agbonlahour's record of 74 goals. That's not just a number on a piece of paper. It represents years of consistent performance and shows just how valuable he is to his current club. So what went wrong with United's approach? Sources suggest that while United were prepared to advance for Watkins if the price was right, Villa's valuation was simply too high. United were only willing to proceed if Villa reduced their asking price, but Villa had no intention of doing any such thing. Can you blame them? Watkins is in his prime, he's their star player, and they have no financial pressure to sell. From Villa's perspective, keeping Watkins happy and motivated is worth more than whatever United might offer. This rejection tells us something important about the current transfer market. The days when United could simply flash their cash and get whoever they wanted are long gone. Other Premier League clubs now have serious money too, and they're not afraid to tell even Manchester United to back off. The bigger picture. United's striker search. Watkins was clearly one of United's top targets for the striker position, but his rejection doesn't end their search. The question now is, where do they turn next? Amorim has already brought in Matheus Cunha and Brian Bumo to strengthen his attack, but he still wants an experienced striker to lead the line. The manager knows that relying on Josh Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund alone might not be enough for a full Premier League campaign. The problem United face is that all the best strikers are either too expensive, too old, or playing for clubs that don't want to sell. It's a seller's market right now, and United are finding out the hard way that their name alone isn't enough to get deals done. But maybe that's not such a bad thing. For too long, United have been guilty of panic buying and overpaying for players just because they were available. If Amorim and his team are being more selective and walking away from overpriced deals, that could be a sign of better decision-making. The key question is, do United have alternative targets lined up, or will they end up scrambling in the final weeks of the transfer window? Only time will tell, but fans will be hoping the club has learned from past mistakes. Lamens, the bright spot in United's transfer plans. While the Watkins news was disappointing, there's been much more positive developments regarding United's goalkeeper search. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Sen Lamens, the 23-year-old Royal Antwerp keeper, is keen on joining Manchester United and has been researching Amorim's team. This is exactly the kind of story United fans love to hear. Here's a young, talented player who genuinely wants to be at Old Trafford. He's not just interested in the money or the prestige. He's actually taken the time to study how Amorim's system works and believes he can fit in. Lamens has been on United's radar since Amorim arrived in December 2024. That's not a coincidence. It shows the club have been planning ahead and identifying targets that fit the new manager's vision. This is smart recruitment at its finest. What makes Lamens even more appealing is his attitude toward the potential move. When asked about the United links earlier this year, he said it was special, to hear his name mentioned alongside the club. But he didn't just sit back and dream, he did his homework. "I do follow the teams that follow you a bit," Lamens explained. "But it's not like I'm watching full matches. Summaries are enough." This shows a player who takes his career seriously and wants to make informed decisions about his future. The Belgian goalkeeper also recognized that his playing style suits English football. "You have to physically hold your own there, and that suits me," he noted. This kind of self-awareness is exactly what United need from their signings. Why Lamens makes perfect sense for United. At 23 years old, Lamens represents the perfect blend of youth and experience. He's old enough to handle the pressure of playing for Manchester United, but young enough to develop and improve under the guidance of Andre Onana and the coaching staff. Competition for places is something Amorim has talked about repeatedly. He wants players fighting for every position, and bringing in Lamens would certainly give Onana something to think about. Healthy competition makes everyone better, and that's exactly what United need right now. The financial aspect also makes sense. Unlike established Premier League goalkeepers who would cost tens of millions, Lamens should be available for a much more reasonable fee. Royal Antwerp are reportedly ready to sell, which means United won't have to deal with the kind of stubborn resistance they faced with Villa over Watkins. But perhaps most importantly, Lamens wants to be at United. That might sound obvious, but it's actually rarer than you might think. Too many players see United as a stepping stone or a payday. Lamens seems to genuinely believe in the project Amorim is building. The contrast, two very different transfer stories. The Watkins and Lamens situations perfectly illustrate the challenges and opportunities United face in the current transfer market. On one hand, you have an established Premier League star who would improve the team immediately but comes with a price tag and attitude that make a deal almost impossible. On the other hand, you have a young, hungry player from a smaller league who might not be the finished article yet, but has the right mentality and potential to grow into something special. Which approach is better? There's no simple answer. United need both types of signings to be successful. They need proven quality like Watkins, but they also need hungry young players like Lamens who can develop and become long-term solutions. The key is finding the right balance and not overpaying for either type of player. Villa's rejection of United's Watkins approach might be frustrating, but it could save the club from making an expensive mistake if the player's heart wasn't really in it. Meanwhile, Lamens represents the kind of smart, forward-thinking recruitment that could define United's success under Amorim. If they can identify and sign players like this consistently, the future looks bright. What this means for United's remaining transfer business. With just 5 weeks left in the transfer window, United still have work to do. Amorim has identified 3 key areas where he wants to strengthen: an experienced striker, a defensive midfielder, and a goalkeeper to compete with Onana. The Lamens deal looks like it could happen relatively easily if United decide to proceed. The player wants to come, the selling club are willing to negotiate, and the price should be reasonable. It ticks all the boxes for a successful transfer. The striker situation is more complicated. With Watkins off the table, United need to identify alternative targets quickly. The longer they wait, the more expensive players become and the more desperate they might appear to selling clubs. The defensive midfielder position remains a mystery. United have been linked with various names throughout the summer, but no clear favorite has emerged. This could be the most challenging position to fill, especially if the club wants someone who can make an immediate impact. But here's the thing about United's transfer strategy under Amorim. They seem more willing to walk away from deals that don't make sense. That's a refreshing change from previous regimes that often overpaid just to get signings over the line. The importance of player mentality. One thing that stands out from both the Watkins and Lamens stories is the importance of player mentality. Watkins, through no fault of his own, is settled at Villa and sees no reason to leave. That's fair enough, but it makes him an unsuitable target for United. Lamens, on the other hand, sees United as the next step in his development. He's hungry, ambitious, and ready for the challenge. That's exactly the kind of player Amorim wants in his squad. This focus on mentality over pure ability is something that separates the best managers from the rest. Amorim seems to understand that having the right attitude is just as important as having the right skills. Players who want to be at United and are willing to fight for their place are more likely to succeed than those who see the club as just another paycheck. Looking ahead, what happens next? The next few weeks will be crucial for United's transfer plans. If they can get the Lamens deal done quickly, it would free up time and resources to focus on finding a striker and defensive midfielder. The key is not to panic. Yes, United need reinforcements, but they shouldn't compromise their standards just to get deals done. Better to start the season with the current squad than to sign players who don't fit Amorim's vision. Fans should also remember that the transfer window works both ways. United still need to sell players like Alejandro Garnacho to raise funds for new signings. Those sales could be just as important as any new arrivals. Final thoughts. A tale of two transfers. The contrast between United's pursuit of Watkins and Lamens tells us everything we need to know about modern football transfers. Success isn't just about identifying good players. It's about finding players who want to be part of your project and are available at the right price. Villa's rejection of United's Watkins inquiry might be disappointing, but it's not the end of the world. There are other strikers out there, and United's focus should be on finding someone who genuinely wants to be at Old Trafford. Meanwhile, the Lamens situation shows that smart recruitment is still possible if you look in the right places and target players with the right mentality. The Belgian goalkeeper might not be a household name yet, but he could be exactly what United need. As we head into the final weeks of the transfer window, United fans should remember that quality is more important than quantity. Getting 1 or 2 players who improve the squad is better than signing 4 or 5 who don't fit the system. Amorim has shown throughout his career that he can develop players and get the best out of his squads. If United can give him the right tools to work with, there's no reason why this season can't be a success. Stay tuned to Unite United News for all the latest developments in United's transfer window. We'll continue to bring you the facts you need to know, without the speculation and rumors that clog up other channels. When it comes to Manchester United transfer news, we're the source you can trust.